welcome to my fireside chat. Yeah. I hope everyone's doing well and that you are excited about enlightenment today. And if you will permit me, we're going to explore enlightenment from the perspective of five senses and sometimes the senselessness of it all. We'll begin with the sense of touch. Now, this is the one sense that is largely intentional. Now, why do I say that, you're probably wondering? I'm going to give you an opportunity to show yourselves. Everyone turn to a neighbor. Make a fist, and you're going to do a fist bump with your neighbor. All right? That was intentional. You had to choose to do it. And it starts at a very early age, our making the choice to reach out, just like this little baby has reached out to a parent or a grandparent with its soft little hand. Don't you just love baby skin? It's so soft, and it's never that soft again, no matter how hard we try, is it? Anyway, aside from all the oils and things that we use trying to get there, we can choose to reach out to other people, can't we? Next, the sense of smell. Now, this is the one that we don't have much choice in when you really think about it. You probably right now can sense some aromas around you. Perhaps the person has cologne on that's on either side of you. Hopefully it's pleasant. But you are surrounded every day by smells in the air. It's either smoggy or foggy, or you're somewhere, especially if you're near a restaurant and they want you to buy something, they deliberately pump air out into the street with the senses and sense of what they're cooking so you can come on in. Well, that's a choice that you make, whether or not you want to partake of what you're smelling. But we do start when we're very, very young, understanding this sense of smell and what can it tell us about the world around us. Now, it just so happens the sunflowers don't have much of a scent, but this baby is checking it out to see. What does have a wonderful aroma, especially this time of year in central Indiana, are peonies. They're about to bloom any day now. I had a yard, in fact, I've had a couple of yards over my lifetime. I won't tell you how old I am. But I've had a couple with peonies, and I just love them. Now, the thing you have to be careful about, though, the little tiny bugs with the 6 legs that also love peonies. So if you're going to cut them and bring them in the house, it'll do you well to shake them real good before you get them on your dining room table. Otherwise, you may have some ants having lunch with you. And how many of you right now, if you're willing to raise your hand, can almost smell the orange you see pictured here? Yes, it's pungent, it's wonderful, and when you taste it, it's also sweet. And the sense of smell and the sense of taste are tied together. We really can't do too much tasting without our sense of smell. Taste is the sense that gives us pleasure, because stuff tastes good. And it also can be a factor in our safety. Anybody in here ever had food poisoning? Yeah, me. And you know, sometimes when you take that bite of chicken, this happened to me, so I can tell you, and it tasted like cheese, and then you remember there was no cheese in the salad. Yeah, that did it. So sometimes we have real pungent sensations from our sense of taste. Remember the first time you tasted a lemon? This little guy is his first experience. I remember mine about 3 or 4, and it was kind of pleasant to me, actually. I discovered that I liked lemons. I like eating them. To this day, I like eating them. My favorite is Meyer lemons, not the grocery store, but the, M-E-Y-E-R. They're sweet and juicy and just wonderful, almost like eating an orange, but not quite. And we have 5 ways to sense taste, but one of my favorites is sweet. I love ice cream. Anybody else here love ice cream? Yeah, it's almost summertime and the prices are going down. I'm so excited. Be careful though when you're eating people food and you leave it where urban creatures can find them. Now this squirrel, it looks like it's really enjoying this ice cream cone, but it really shouldn't be eating the ice cream cone. So we have to be aware and intentional about what we do with our people food and where we leave it. My son, for example, was in Boy Scouts a little while back and they went camping. The troop leader specifically told them to make sure everything was covered and put away before they went to bed. He came home the next day with the wildest story. Mom, there was a raccoon in our tent. They had left the cheese and crackers that they were munching on out where the raccoons could smell them. So guess what happened? Midnight snack for the raccoons. Hearing. Everybody be as quiet as you can for just a moment. Me too. Now, did you hear there are some ambient noises in the room? Very quiet, but there are. Now, hearing being our first sense, our very first sense, we start by hearing our mother's heartbeat in the womb while we're growing. We get accustomed to that. So that's not a choice that we have, but if we choose to listen, not just hear, but listen, and be intentional about that, we can be enlightened by what someone else says to us. But we do have to listen, and sometimes we have to listen for nuances because their message might be between the lines. But if we do, we can understand a little bit more about our fellow humans. Last but not least, our sense of sight. Now, this is the most fragile sense. Our eyes are the most sensitive organs in our body. We have to protect them. But they do give us a wonderful sense of the world around us. If we look at the beautiful sunrises and the beautiful sunsets around us, if we take in the greenery, and we are fortunate here where we live, that we have a lot of green trees, especially starting this time of year. They then evolve throughout the summer into the fall and the colors change. If you've ever driven through the Hoosier Forest in about October, you see a plethora of colors, and it's just a wonderful concert for our eyes. But there are also things that we should take a look at and pay attention to when we're looking at people. Now, it says here on this sign that this lady is homeless. She's down on her luck. But is that her whole story? For all we know, she might have a college degree, maybe even an advanced degree. A few years ago, there were people with PhDs out in the street, homeless. So not everyone who's homeless has any kind of other issue other than they just ran out of money. But there are also times when we see people laughing and happy and joyful, or at least they seem to be so. But then if we listen to whatever story they may tell us, we may find that they need help too. So enjoy time with your family and your friends and live it up and be happy and joyful. But remember that not everyone you see who's smiling is actually happy. So it's up to us to be enlightened enough. It's up to us who's willing to stand with me. To stand and be intentional about reaching out to our fellow humans and being a part of the community of Earth. Thank you.